So today's lesson is a continuation from yesterday, multiplying fraction times fraction. And today I'm going to show you another method that's called cross-reducing. Reduce means the same as simplify. It's just that we're doing it in the beginning instead of at the end. Okay? So, if you look at number 9, I solved it this way that we solved yesterday. We multiplied the numerator, we put the whole number over 1, we multiply the numerators, the denominators, and then we can simplify 2/8 to 1/4. Okay? Another way we could do this, so we had to simplify at the end here. I'm going to show you cross reducing. So basically we're looking at these numbers like crisscross. And we know that 2 and 8, 2 goes into both of these numbers. 2 goes into 2 one time, so I'm actually going to cross it out, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. Now look what happened to these numbers. We have, instead of 2 times 1 and 1 times 8, we have 1 times 1, which is 1, and 1 times 4, which is 4. So we end up with the same product. We're just simplifying from the beginning instead of at the end. Okay, so if we take 2/8, we can simplify like we did here to 1/4. It's just that we're looking at the numbers in the crisscross way, and that's called cross simplifying or cross reducing. Okay, so that's what that strategy is. We're going to try a couple more, and this is a strategy. You can use it if it helps you. If it's too confusing, which it probably is right now, but as we continue and I do a few more and you start working with it, you will probably feel more comfortable, but I'm just letting you know up front that this is a strategy that you can use. You will still end up with the same answer, okay? So I'm going to skip over to number 11. Okay, so again, we multiplied the numerators, we multiplied the denominator. So here's a good example of, okay, well maybe I'm not sure what 12 times 3 is. It's 36, and then I have to simplify, but here we're working with larger numbers here. Maybe I don't know that 2 can go into 36. "18 times. Okay, maybe I have to do a little bit of side work here. If you cross, which is fine, but if you cross reduce, we're going to end up with smaller numbers to work with. Okay, so I'm going to look here and see if I can cross simplify. So 1 and 3, I can't cross simplify here, but 2 and 12, I can simplify. I can divide both of these numbers by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, 12 divided by 2 is 6, and now look, we have 1 times 1, which is 1, and 6 times 3, which is 18. So again, we end up with the same product. It's just that our simplifying happens first. Okay, let's try another one. I'm trying to look for a good example. Okay, let's try number 15. I'm just going to go right to, well, I'll do this. Okay, 2 times 8 is 16, 3 times 8 is 24. Okay, we can divide both of these by 4 and end up with 4 6, or we could have went higher here. We could have divided by 8 to start and end up with 2/3. Okay, but either way, so I ended up having to do 2 steps here. If we cross simplify from the start, okay, so again, I'm going to look at the numbers like a crisscross. So it's kind of like we're forming an X with our when we're circling, and that's why it's called cross reducing. So I'm going to look, can 3 go into 8? Nope, it cannot. But can 2 go into 8 here? Yes. So I can simplify. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now I have 8 twelfths, which is a lot easier to work with than 16/24. We're making these numbers smaller. Okay, and I do have an extra step to do here, which is okay because, again, we're working with smaller numbers. If I divide both of these by 4, I'm going to end up with 2/3. Okay, so again, either way, we end up with the same product. It's just how we're arriving there is a little bit different. Just basically cross-simplifying saves us a step at the end. Okay. Now, the reason I skipped some of these is because we might see some where we can't cross-simplify, but I just saw another one here. Let's try number 16. So I'm going to put the 5/1. Okay, so again, I could multiply across. 5 times 4 is 20, 1 times 5 is 5, and then we have to simplify because we have an improper number. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Or we can cross-simplify right from the start. So we have to look and see, can we do it? Because sometimes it's not possible. You can't simplify the numbers any further. Okay? 4 and 1, the only common factor that they have is 1. Okay, so we can't cross-simplify there. That's already in simplest form, right? If we have 1/4, 1/4 is already in simplest form. If we have 5/5, 5 and can go into both of these one time. So whenever you have the same number, they basically cancel each other out. Okay? And now we have 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1. Improper fraction, 4 divided by 1 is 4. Okay, so again, ends up being the same. We just arrived at it a different way. But if we come back to number, let's go back to number 13. So sometimes we might not be able to cross-simplify. We might have to just multiply across. Okay, so let's take a look and see. We have 2 and 7. 7 is not divisible by 2. The only factor they have in common is 1. So we can't cross-simplify here. Same with 4 and 5. The only common factor that they have is 1. So here's an example of where you can't cross-simplify. We're just going to have to do regular multiplication across. So 2 times 4 is 8. 5 times 7 is 35. And that is in simplest form because we couldn't simplify from the start. Okay, so this is already in simplest form. Okay, here's another example. Oh, nope, this is a good example we'll save this one. We'll come back to that one. Here's another example. Let's go back up to number 10. I'm skipping around a little bit here. But the book is giving you some different types of examples here. So 4 and 9 and 4 and 5 cannot be reduced. Okay, so again, we're just going to multiply the way that we usually do straight across. Okay, 16/45, and that is already in simplest form. Okay, so you have to be careful and really look at the numbers and think, are they divisible by the same factor? Okay, can we cross-simplify to start? Because, like I said, sometimes you can't. But let's look at number 14. Okay, so the reason I wanted to come back to this one is because this one you can cross-simplify. Okay, so if you're looking at this and you're saying, well, I know 7 and 5 don't reduce, can't be simplified, but 4 and 8, I can divide both of these by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, 8 divided by 4 is 2, and now I have 7/10. Okay? So that's today's lesson. We're going to flip to the next page and do a few more problems together, and then I'm going to have you try some on your own. Okay, so just try the method today. Like I said, if it confuses you, I do want you to try it today, but if it confuses you in the long run, then just do regular multiply across and simplify at the end. But try it. Okay, there's no harm in trying it. Some might be a little bit easier than others. And I will see you in a moment.